Hey everyone, got some footage from Lafayette Park at the Gateway Cup. This is the first day of 4 days of racing in St. Louis. Each day is in like a different section of the city. And this is the Cat 2-3 race. I was looking for some upgrade points all weekend, which didn't quite work out. But it was still fun to be at the front of races, feeling kind of strong. So the 4 days are all in different courses. The first day is this giant square that you see. The lap times were like 2 minutes or something. It's kind of long. It's really wide all the way around, so it was super easy to move up like at will. And none of the corners were super tight. The pavement was pretty good, with the exception of in corner one, there was this giant like cutout section, and then in the cutout section there was a raised manhole cover. It was kind of a mess, and I do think it caused one of the crashes in the first corner. Um, but anyways, this race started at like 7:30 or so maybe. So we got to start in the daylight, but you'll see it got dark pretty quick, and it wasn't the best lit course. They kind of threw light in each corner, and like, yeah, good enough. So it's nice to be able to actually see things in the start of the race. The pro races went off super late. Since the 2-3s were racing into the dark, I don't think the pros started until like 9:30 p.m., which is a pretty late start. It actually got like kind of quiet during the last race of the night, during the men's pro race. Like everyone kind of went to bed. It seemed like, and the beer tent like stopped serving after like 20 minutes of their race, and they were already like packing up the whole expo center. So the whole timing of the first night seemed a little odd. There were still like quite a few people out from this neighborhood. I would say each day more and more people came out, but still pretty fun. So now we're gonna skip ahead to later in the race. So I would say the defining characteristic of this race was crashes. I think there was like 4 or 5 um, different big crashes during the course of our race, and one of them that's coming up was enough to neutralize the race. And I think I had like heard that Gateway has a reputation of being crashy, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It was like definitely put me on edge, and I think got in my head for the rest of the weekend. But it was kind of a mess this first night. I think just because the course was really easy to sit in on, like everybody thought they had a chance, and then that caused troubles later. There were a lot of close calls throughout the race, but it didn't really. Um, there was one like little one in the first corner, but then um, I think this is with 7 or 8 to go, is when everybody started to get antsy and like everybody wanted to be up near the front again, and they're just not everybody can be at the front, so it caused crashes. We're coming out of the last corner here, and I'm gonna see these guys right in front of me just bump a little bit and like kind of overreact after the bump and then go down hard, and a lot of guys come down with them. Somehow I kept that one upright. Um, kind of surprised by it. So I rolled over to the pit. So you're allowed to take a free lap this year if you were impeded by a crash. You don't have to actually hit the pavement like in the old rules. But once I got over to the pit, they had us hang out for a little bit, and they actually neutralized the race like a lap later because there were so many guys um, that needed attention that were laying out on the course. So we stood around for like 15 minutes, and then we got restarted on 7 laps to go, which is right where we left off. Um, I thought we were going to get cut down for keeping everything on schedule, but they let us go the full length of our race. But restarting on 7 to go turned this into like a sprint event, and again, like anybody who was maybe not feeling so great now got to recover for 15 minutes and thought they had a chance again. So I didn't do a very good job lining up when we restarted, unfortunately. They had everybody from the pit like take the rest of the lap around while they stopped the rest of the field. So we got to start good and properly on the back behind everybody. They also let everybody who had like been dropped to get back into the field. So I think the last jump ahead there was up to 2 laps to go, and my game plan all race had been I was gonna sit in and like make zero effort until like the last 3 or 4 laps, and then I wanted to make sure I was in a good spot and start to be attentive near the front. But that crash definitely got on my nerves, and I know I wasn't the only one that was feeling that way after that big crash, and then everybody being right back into the race. So I'm just trying to follow people up towards the front who wanted to make the effort so that I didn't have to on like that second to last lap. And then here we are going into the last lap, and I knew I was too far back. But this race had been super surgy to this point where like you could ride a wave of momentum from like 40th wheel up to first, no problem, because like nobody was willing to take over. And I was kind of hoping that would happen. I started to realize it maybe wasn't going to happen, and I was going to have to make my own luck. So start to try to move up here and make a little move going into corner 2. And I was feeling a lot better about where I was when I looked up coming into corner 2. I was like, all right, we might be able to make this work still. But right as I start to get some momentum going up, you could hear the crash happening on the right side, and these guys moved over to get out of the way. I had to move over too, and then grab brakes, and now this huge gap opened, and we're like way further back than we were. And at this point, I was like out of contention, and kind of frustrated by the number of crashes in this race so far. I was like, all right, let's just get through these last couple corners and call it a day, and try again tomorrow. But everybody was still so amped on getting 20th place that when we come around this last corner up here that we're coming into, and there's just more dudes laying on the pavement. I was glad that I wasn't like up there still, and yeah, there's the crash. Um, it's like hoping that guy didn't get back up right in my way. Thankfully, he didn't, and just like rolling across the line here for 20th or so, saving it for the next 3 days of racing instead. So.